Thinking then behind the squad announcement, Vera, you got Hayley Nolan coming in.
Yeah, Hayley is a player that has been injured. She was in the squad before. She was doing really well. She was growing, but not yet on the point that she was getting into the lineup. But she was very close. I remember she was in Belgium when she was playing. And she got a nasty injury after, an ankle injury, and she has come back slowly, and before the summer she just wasn't ready in her rhythm. But now she is dominant. She's playing at the left centre back at her club, and she is strong. Her start of the build-up has improved dramatically, and she just made the squad because of the qualities.
You've worked very hard to get here. You beat Finland away. You played so well in Sweden. This is what it's all about now. This is what it's about.
Yeah.
Taking the chance against Finland and Slovakia.
Yeah, it is. But it's not an easy job to do. Many are already thinking ahead of it, but Finland was the better team away. And we stole the points over there. The thing is that this is their last chance. They will not underestimate us. And we have to know where we stand. They've just played the Euros. There can be a pro or a negative, but they have 3 major games in their legs at this moment with a rest period in between. So we need to see where we stand. The thing is that we will be ready as always, and then we need to see if it's enough and if the luck is a bit on our side.
They've made a lot of changes. They changed their manager.
Yeah, but the changes are not that many. The manager says that he made a lot of changes, but there's actually, of the Euro team, there's only 2 players off the bench not there. All the other players are there. And he brought in 2 extra players, so that makes 4 changes, and those are for youngsters. But if they will play, we will see.
Was the lesson of the Euros, because it was so exciting, that we need to be there, we need to be at these tournaments?
Yeah, should have been there. It still hurts. I think the team has grown a lot, but we have to stay realistic in where we stand and where we are. It will be massive if we can surprise the world, but we need to be realistic that it will be a very, very hard task, but not something that's undoable. And again, we will be ready.
Does our approach have to be positive and attacking at home, given it's in our hands?
We have to be realistic, I said, and we are always going for goals, as you know. We're always going to conquer, but we will be realistic in our approach.
What do you think Katie McCabe's best position is?
You will see.
Vera does at the highest ever world ranking now, set for the biggest ever home crowd in Tallinn next week. Can you build on that momentum?
Well, that's what we hope so. It's fantastic. I think it's within 30 minutes that the stadium was sold out, and that's the first ever. The biggest crowd we had was just over 5,000. So now in 30 minutes to have the whole stadium packed, that is amazing and fantastic. And it's probably 2 sides, of course. We have earned that, but it was also during the Euros with all the hype of the Euros. So we are so happy that comes together, and the crowd will support us. What's amazing is that what the FAI has done, and we're so happy with that, is that 2,000 of the tickets are solely reserved for children. So at least 2,000 girls of grassroots clubs will be there, and then with all the support that we have, with all the other people in, that is what we feel is the best of this all.
Yeah, we obviously saw England and the feel-good factor around winning the European Championships. What did you think through an Irish lens, looking at that? Can you replicate that?
We should have been there. That's what I thought. We should have been there. We deserve to be there, but we've given it away ourselves against Ukraine.
Yeah, but just in terms of the popularity of women's football going forward, can you build on that momentum?
Yeah, there's still people surprised about it, but since '99, every tournament has been breaking records. Every tournament was, this is the best ever, we will never get it anymore. But every tournament, it's again the same remarks. So let's keep going with each other, I would say.
Vera, a good chunk of your players are in pre-season at the minute. Like, how are they shaping up, or is it a concern that they haven't had much competitive action in a long time?
Yeah, that's something we have to deal with. We've kept all the game minutes of every single player of the long list. And it looks like now the last 2 weeks, all the core players are playing full games. So game rhythm will not be an issue. We've been built in against Georgia how to deal with it. Players have responded so well, and now they have been playing already for 5 weeks. So it's not a real concern, although we would have, of course, be glad with a competitive game in England, especially players in England. But because Scotland is in competition already, and of course Ireland has been in competition all the way. So yeah, I think we will be fine in that sense.
Can I ask you just about Denise O'Sullivan? Obviously signed a new contract with Courage. Her manager, the quote was, one of the best midfielders in the world. I know you've spoken a lot about her in the past. Like, how key is she for this team?
Sorry, her manager said?
That she's one of the best midfielders in the world. I know you've said
I've
similar
said the same
things.
thing, eh?
Yeah, in the past.
Yeah.
Just how important is Denise for this team?
Yeah, she's crucial. We have a few, of course, a few
Yeah.
big stars. Everybody knows that. We don't have to hide for that. And those are the players that make a difference. But they are not more important than the other players, because of the other players, they can make that difference. So we're so happy to have her in the team, and good luck to her. We've spoken about the extension of her contract and staying in USA, but that's the place where she's happy. So we've more discussed about where do you feel happy, where do you feel that, and not so much where should you be. Because you can easily say the time differences and all the jet lags, of course that's hard. And that's not a healthy thing to do, but being happy is the most important thing.
And then Vera, you just, in one of your answers about the Euros, you said something about surprising the world. Is that Ireland reaching a major tournament, or is that, securing a playoff?
Surprising the world is securing a playoff or reaching the tournament.
Yeah.
Well, we only play to reach the tournament, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
But step by step. First Finland.
You had a home-based squad in training during the week. What were you looking to get from that? And did they have a game against a boys' team?
No, we trained because we had to manage the load. Before we had sessions with playing the boys' team. That was in June. Players were off-season. They needed game rhythm. So we brought in also all the players that came back from England or wherever in the world and being based in Ireland. And this time we have played 11-a-side with a lead-up, of course, and then a football conditioning session 6v6, so that we could manage the load. For example, the Shelbourne players did not do the 6v6, but only big, so that they could start their motor again after the Champions League.
And Thursday's game, it's like a playoff for a playoff. It's a really big game.
It's a final. We feel it's a final.
Yeah. Can your players need to embrace this opportunity and being favourites playing in front of this big stadium? I'm sure they'll.
Yeah, I want to repeat. I don't, and that's true. I'm not downplaying. I don't see us as favourites. I see that this is a big game, and it will be very difficult to get a result. Because the situation is completely different than the first game.
Thank you.
I hope you remember that we scored early, and I hope you remember how we've been under pressure later in the game. So it is a really hard game, but we will be ready. We will do everything we can to get a result.
Vera, do you have to do anything to prepare them to play in front of a full house, a full stadium? It's not something that they're all very, very used to.
This squad is special. This squad is so special. We've played in front of a big crowd in Sweden, in Finland, and everybody was saying, like, will this bring up the pressure for them? We've played almost full house at home, and these players are independent of that. Of course, we work a lot on being independent on it. It's not coming by itself. But I've never seen a team responding so well on different circumstances than this team. They're so focused, they really know what they're doing on the pitch. And we see if that's good enough. But no, I think it will only be a boost for us.
And because between now and Thursday, the talk around the team will build, the country will start talking about it. People who aren't even that into women's football will realise that this is a chance and this is a big, big game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to separate the team from that, or do you have to get them to embrace that?
You know, we have earned this position. So why would you neglect it? This is us. This is what we earned over the last years. Not now these 2 years that I've been in charge, 2.5 years, almost 3 years already. But 20 years. In 2008, this team qualified for playoffs for the Euros. Anja O'Gorman was already in that squad. As 16-year-old, she was. This team has grown step by step by step by step. And now we're in a position that everybody expects something from us. That's what we want. But we will be realistic. We know what we can do. We know our limits. We found our limits. That is why we played so many big opponents last year. We know our limits and we know that we are growing. But again, we will not put on pants of a too big size. I've said that before, because those pants will end up on your ankles. And we can only succeed if we are realistic.